Our next guest tonight is BYU's new tight ends coach, and according to our research, the only coach on the staff with a Super Bowl ring. Our pleasure to welcome Kevin Gilbride to the Wise Guys. We're going to talk about your Cougar days in a moment, but is that true? Are you the only one on the staff with a ring?
I believe so.
Yeah, and when did you win it?
2011.
The Giants defeated Tom Brady and the Patriots 21-17 in the 2012 Super Bowl, so it would have been the end of that season. So you beat Tom Brady. How did it feel?
It felt great. Winning the Super Bowl was pretty special. Yeah. No, it was that, but it was also I was fortunate enough to work with my father for 4 years at the Giants, and that was pretty special. Father-son Super Bowl.
That would be great.
Just the chance to work with your father, period, would be a special treat, and then to have that kind of success and play and win a Super Bowl has to be like a big-time highlight, lifetime highlight, right?
It really is. And just going a little deeper into that situation, I didn't really want to work with my dad initially when I first got into coaching. I wanted to have some separation, make my own way. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. But then I kind of learned how he was as a man in the profession and how he treated people. And then at that time, I was like, you know what, maybe I'd like to try to work with him before he retires, because I knew he was heading towards retirement. And I was fortunate enough to get on staff at the Giants, which was a huge break getting into the NFL. Yeah. And our second year together, we won the Super Bowl, which is special time for my family. It's special time. In
hindsight, as you look back, was that not the greatest thing to ever happen, to be able to spend that kind of time with your dad?
Yeah, it was one of the hardest things that's ever happened too.
So you're saying he wasn't easy on you?
For my father was not easy. Yeah, no, he was very challenging, because he was going to hold me to a standard that was challenging to meet, but everyone would appreciate the work that the output of my work.
Were they your teenage years all over again?
Yeah, it was different than the teenage years. It was daily. It was right there. No, but it really was a very special time, and it made me a much better coach too.
Yeah.
Well, but when you're a teenager, you're questioning whether your dad's really in charge. But when he's your boss in the NFL, you know he's in charge. He actually is in charge, right?
There's no saying no. There's no questioning going on. No, it was a really special time.
You guys, New York, you guys scored a touchdown, the winning touchdown, with 57 seconds left in the game. You were the receivers coach at that time, right?
I was quality control.
Okay.
I was quality control next year.
So you're all receivers next year. Eli Manning's throwing the ball around, and which was pretty amazing. What was that moment like, to not only to win this thing, but you win it at the end on a big touchdown?
Yeah. No, it was special. I mean, it was intense. But you score with 50-something seconds left, and Tom Brady's.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, we left him too much time.
That's it, but you can't worry about that. It's such a challenging position to be in to score on the Patriots at that time. They were playing such great defense, just very, very sound defense. Nothing schematic that was really going to cause you many issues, but they were going to play great football, and with some pretty good players too. So, but you left Tom Brady that amount of time, so you never know if it's done. You're happy to have scored, to go up, but you don't know until that clock hits zero.
Well, you held on.
Yeah, we did.
You got it done.
We did.
Have you? Do you bring the ring into the office and show it off a little bit?
I have not. No.
Why not?
I've worn it once, and it was
They're huge, right?
They're big. Yeah, they are big, and it's great. It's beautiful. I'm very, very proud of the accomplishment. I'm also a little scared that something's going to happen to the ring if I bring it around everywhere, But yeah, I've worn it one time, and that one time was to my buddy that I played baseball with in college's wedding, because he requested it. That was it. But I have gotten a couple of requests from the tight end position, like
to come bring so they can see it.
So I will.
We challenge you to take it into your next coaches meeting, but don't tell them you're
just sit down and kind of clunk it on the table like this,
or if you have it on your finger and just kind of flash it in some of your comments.
And don't let Tom Homo come in with his 2 or 3 and clank him down. Don't let him upstage
him out,
or his 4 or whatever it is. Don't let him act like that's a big deal. So
just kind of flash it. Seen this?
Yeah. So will you take that challenge on? Can we challenge you to do that sometime this summer?
Maybe I will.
And let us know how that goes.
I think your tight ends room would love to see it. I think
they will. Cool. Yeah, they will.
I think everyone. It's such a unique thing, and so few. We had Andy Reid on the show a couple of weeks ago, and there's just so few Cougars and staffers, when you consider everybody, that ever get one.
Yeah, I mean so few people ever get one. So
in
was
any
very,
professional
very special.
sport, not just football, right? It's like we got Danny Ainge who's around a lot. He's got a handful of them from being with the Celtics, but there's just not that many people that get to win a world championship in any sport. Right. So it's pretty cool.
So you're quality control at the Super Bowl, and Madonna's doing the halftime show. So did you stay out and watch Madonna, or did you have to go in the locker room?
No, we went in the locker room.
You can find a way to go. Work to do. There's some stuff I got to do out on the sideline.
No, I was actually in the press box for the game, but for that year. But no, I mean, we were in the locker room. We were working on second half adjustments.
It seems like you could have slipped out.
Yeah, I feel like you could have seen something like that. BYU tight ends coach Kevin Gilbride on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus. The receivers that were with that, you were quality control, but that receiving core, wow. You had Victor Cruz, Hakeem Nicks, Mario Manningham, Jake Ballard at tight end. A lot of weapons, running back, Amon Bradshaw. Now at BYU, you've got Chase Roberts, Cody Epps, Keelan Marion, Darius Lassiter, Parker Kingston, Keanu Hill's just moved to tight end now with your group. You got a couple of young freshmen that are in here. What do you think about this group that you have? You've been around really skilled groups because you spent so many years in the NFL. So how does this group match up, and how do you think they'll compete in the Big 12?
I don't know the comparison because I haven't been a year in the Big 12. So I can't speak on that. What I can speak on is the actual group and the people. Versatility throughout the skill position group, meaning running backs, tight ends, receivers. I mean, very versatile. They can do a lot of different things well. And that's what we're really excited about, being able to use our tools to challenge the defense so they don't know what's coming at them, and we can hit them a lot of different ways. So that's fun. That's a fun thing to be a part of.
You coached 20 years in the NFL, Giants, Bears, Panthers.
12.
Or 12.
20 would have been good, too.
Did I add 8?
Yeah.
I add 8. I blame myself, but congratulations. What's the transition like when you leave professional football to come back to coach college kids?
The coaching side of it, not much.
Really?
Not much at all. And that might be my approach to coaching, which is you find the way each kid learns and you try to maximize what they can do and minimize where they're a little bit deficient. So that doesn't change. The football's the football. What's different is the additional jobs, making sure that they're all going to class and being good young men, which I actually enjoy that side of it, being, helping them along in their life. And then the recruiting's nonstop, So I knew that going in. You know that when you're coming back from the professional back to college. But it is challenging, learning the different techniques and tools of recruiting these days compared to 2009, which was the last time that I did it.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I talked to Andy for a long time about it a few years ago, Andy Reid, and I said, did you ever think you wanted to coach in college? And he's like, I don't know if I ever wanted to go back to recruiting again. He says, here, we evaluate them, we draft them if we like them, we sign them if they're free agents. Yep. If we don't like them, we don't sign them. Right. We cut them. He goes, recruiting is hard. And so he says, I don't know if I want that. Is it hard? Have you found it to be hard?
It's always hard. You're battling other schools and other institutions that are quality institutions. Like you can't say anything bad about these universities. But we have such a product at BYU, and then the culture that Coach Kalani's cultivating and continues to cultivate daily is impressive. So we show that to the recruits, and we let them see that. We try to give them as much of a picture of who we are and what we can bring to the table, and then they make their minds up. BYU is unique. It's unique because it's sponsored by the LDS Church, and we have the honor code, and we go into that with. We want every recruit to know this is who we are. Yeah. It's a special place. Is it for you or not? You decide. We'll show you everything that we can do for you in helping you develop and being part of a family culture, and then you decide whether you want to be a part of it or not. That's one side. So, yeah, it's challenging. It's hard. But we also get to recruit guys that we like. Like if it's a kid that we don't think is going to be a fit at BYU, we don't recruit him. Yeah. Why would we? It's going to put him in a bad position and us in a bad position. So that side of it, I've enjoyed. The fact that I get to develop relationships with these young men that I want to coach, that I want to have on my team, and I want to help develop and become the best player that they can be and the best man.
Do these kids listen to you more closely because of where you've been and where they want to go? Every kid dreams of going to the NFL. Well, you've been there and coached there. Do you find that street cred is sincere?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the fact that I coached at the NFL, or
seems like it would.
It could be. Yeah, it certainly could be, or just the type of kids, the types of young men that they are. But they have engaged and listened and tried to get better. And what I mean by that is they have a growth mindset.
Yeah.
And I talk about it with them all the time. But pushing themselves to the point of failure, getting back up and doing it again. Getting back up and doing it again, knowing that I'm going to be there to support them. But it's not easy. You want to stay in your comfort zone. But in order to really get better, you have to push yourself to that level. They've had that, and they continue to even throughout the summer, which has been good. And I believe we'll maintain it. But you can't count your chickens before they're hatched.
Right.
If we do, we'll be really, really good at the tight end position.
Yeah, we had Keanu Hill on the show. He described to us him playing wide receiver and how it was almost like a wrestler where he was trying to keep his weight down so they could keep playing wide receiver.
Right.
And then finally the team approached him and said, have you thought about moving to tight? You guys talked to him about moving to tight end. It was almost like, even though my dad's a Hall of Fame wide receiver and my uncle's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, I want to be who I am. I want to be my weight and play. So everybody's asking us about him. He's been on the show. Is that working out? How's that going? What's your thought on Keanu so far? Is this been a smooth transition, and is he going to be really effective at that position this fall?
I think he will be. Yeah, it has definitely been a smooth transition because of the work that he's put in, the approach that he's had. His work ethic and his willingness to do some of those things that we just talked about, challenging himself and putting himself in, not in harm's way, but in a space where you can feel embarrassment because you fail. He's willing to put himself into those places over and over and over, and because of it, he's picked up the position relatively quickly. Is he, going to be a dominant blocker, come fall? He's getting there, but he's not quite there yet. I think he could be.
The idea of him coming over the middle matched up with a linebacker as opposed to a corner or safety, which he's seen the last 4 years, seems to be to his advantage in so many ways.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
One of the guys got to find a way to stay, because he's fast.
Right.
You got to catch him before you can tackle him. And I think that outside of him saying, I just love eating, I think he's looking forward to those matchups.
I have to say, you probably didn't get a chance to see it, but he's pretty self-aware. He's like, I was a good blocker for a wide receiver, but I'm stopped blocking with my hands out. And he goes, now I got to get my pad level down and actually drive people, and I need to learn how to do it, but I really want to learn how to do it. So he's really... I walked away from the interview we had with him. I thought he's really self-aware, like he knows what he needs to do, and it sounds like he's working at it hard to try to get there.
Yeah.
We hear other names, and there's a really vast variety of. You've got some big dudes that can really block. You've got some smaller guys that can really run. You got the freshman in Swanson who. When I look at him, I'm like, this guy's a freak of nature.
Right.
Take us through that tight end group, what you've got in your room, and give us a few highlights of what we're going to see on the field this fall and who might be a star that people aren't thinking about.
Well, I don't want to give anything away. But to speak to your point, the versatility in that room is probably the best I've ever been around, as far as what they can do, what they can get accomplished. But in order for us truly to be effective, we have to be able to minimize our deficiencies so that we don't have the tells that tell the defense when this player's on the field, this is what they're going to do. These are the routes that they're going to run. These are the run schemes that they're going to try to execute. So they have to be able to minimize their deficiencies, and we work hard on that. But yeah, we have some guys who can stretch the field to make plays. We have some guys who create separation and make plays. We have some guys that can block dominant in blocking. We have some guys who are really getting there. So it's an exciting time for me, but also challenging because we've got to really try to see what we have and then how many guys can play and in what roles. And the guys are improving and they're getting better in every role. So who's going to emerge? That's the big question.
It's fun stuff.
Tight end production has really dropped the last 2 seasons and probably can take it right back to the moment Isaac Rex broke his ankle against USC. You picked up some commitments over the weekend. We won't talk about that, but there is a move back to the tight end spot and moving Keanu to that spot and some of the other guys that are in there. What role do you see the tight end position playing this fall in the offense?
Well, we have so many different guys, skill position players that can make plays.
Yeah.
So it's who's going to emerge as the best 5 skill position players, and that's really probably going to be the emphasis as far as who's getting on the field. The playmakers are going to get the ball in their hands. My view is as many tight ends as we can get on the field, the better, because it keeps the defense in check. They don't know what you're going to be able to do because of our versatility at tight end.
Yeah.
We could split those guys out at number 1 receiver, right? We can put their hands in the dirt. We can have them as a fullback position in the backfield. So they can't key on, hey, when they're in 12 personnel or they're in 13 personnel, they're going to run the ball, and they're just going to run the ball in play action. Well, we can break out into empty and execute our entire offense from there. It just speaks to the character and the way that our guys can process information, and it's a lot of fun for me.
That feels like Chad Lewis, Atuli Mealy out there.
And when you have Chad Lewis and Atuli Mealy on the same team, you can play 12 personnel. When we say 12 and there's lots of folks that are watching that know what that is, but that's 1 back and 2 tight ends. 13 is 1 back and 3 tight ends. That team could play 12 personnel all game long if they wanted to, and both of those guys could play attached with their hand on the ground and block like a tackle, and they could just run away from people and make plays. You have those guys.
We do.
This year that can do that.
We do.
And so you could play a lot more 12 and 13 personnel and really cause people problems, because they watch who runs out onto the field for a personnel group, and then they try to match that. Oh, this is a heavy group. Let's put our heavy group out there, and then you guys can split people out. And then now you got mismatches on the outside because they're going to run away from people.
Right.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to have.
We are thrilled to have.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to have.
Kevin Gilbride on the Wise Guys, the tight ends coach at BYU, as the Cougars prepare for their second season in the Big 12. On the live stream, by the way, Joe Valentino says, Joseph says, hi, little Uncle Kevin.
Wait, there's a story behind this?
There has to be a story.
Yeah, I mean, he's my cousin. He's my wife's not going to like this, but my best friend.
Okay.
Second best friend, Rachel.
Right.
Second best
Nice
friend.
pivot.
Yeah, no, he's my guy.
Chris Gwynn says, hey, I love the stash, Coach Kevin.
Yeah,
So what are these guys doing? That's my buddy from Hoboken.
So did you live in Hoboken?
I did.
Yeah, my mom was born and raised in Hoboken.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a New York kid. I grew up in New York,
Nice.
but yeah, my family's all from back there.
Very nice.
But Hoboken, when I hear Hoboken, that's like homeland of my mom.
That's awesome.
Hey, basketball's made all kinds of noise here in this summer, more so than we've ever had in the history of the program. Is the football team feeling a little forgotten?
Honestly, I have no idea, because we're just working to try to recruit, right? And they're in their frame and time frame where they're getting their guys and all that stuff, and we're doing the same thing. I don't think you can worry about anybody else. You just have to focus on getting your job done. And I think so far we're doing a pretty good job of it.
Do you like, and we heard from Kalani, he likes flying under the radar.
Yeah, like Kalani's just like
that?
I kind of don't mind this at all.
Undersell, over deliver.
Yeah.
Yes, I like it.
And you like that? That'll be a running theme. There has to be, I know that the guys report to camp at the end of next month, but is that I think we've had a few guys on where that's a bothering point to them. The Vegas says 4.5 wins, a chip on the shoulder type thing. Cody Epps was talking about that. Is it a legitimate chip?
I think for certain guys, yes, it is. And it's our job as coaches to be able to harness that feeling that they have and get them focused on the process of getting better. And if we can do that, we're going to have a lot of ticked off, ready to go players.
What do you think people will be most surprised about when they see this football team this fall? Is there something like, hey, we're going to be better? Like anything that might surprise people?
I think execution. I feel like when you talk to Coach A-Rod and Coach Kalani and the rest of the staff on offense, we don't feel like we executed at the highest level, or the level that we're capable of and the standard that's been set here in 2023. So I believe our execution is going to be back to matching what it has been in the past, and hopefully we'll surpass it.
It's interesting because we've had all the wide receivers on, and they made it really more apparent to us that BYU's offense started 7 first-year guys last year, transfer guys, and That's hard to do, to execute with that many new people. And some of the receivers were saying, yeah, especially early in the season, I'd be out there and they'd call a check and I would think, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'd look over to the side and go, oh, and neither does he. Oh, right? But here's the good news. We said, what about now? Oh, now I know everything I do. In fact, not only do I know what I do, I know what every other route, including the tight ends, is on the offense, and I know the protection. And I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit better about next year's team then, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of a telling story. And this is a much more veteran team. Will that make a difference?
I think so, yeah. From the standpoint of just learning the offense, like you mentioned, but also the cohesiveness, having been together for a year now. And then just one more aspect, like a guy like Reiner Swanson, who enrolled early. In the spring, we threw him to the fire, and he made his mistakes, and he made some plays too. But then spring ended, and now he's been back studying and making sure that he's learning the things that he knows that he was a little bit hazy on, so that leg up is going to help him. So when we have the player run practices and I start, talking to these guys and asking them questions and watching their execution, it's been pretty impressive to see his growth and development.
What's your take on the two quarterbacks that have both been in here, Gary and Jake? They're throwing to your tight ends. They're the ones who got to get your guys the ball. We're in June, into June. So where are they at? What do you think?
I think they're both practicing at a very high level right now.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very good and challenging competition for both of them. But when push comes to shove, the best player is going to play number one. And the fact that they're pushing each other the way that they are, I think whoever that player ends up being is going to be pretty special.
Be nice to have experience at that position too. I went and watched, got invited to go watch John Beck work with those two, along with Tyson Bourget and McKay. Yeah. And I walked away from that, having played that position, and thought, we're in better shape than people think. We have 4 guys that can actually play, which is not every university has 4 guys that can play. So the future looks bright too. What's your thought on those young guys? Because McKay wasn't here in spring, but Tyson started to really come on toward the end of spring. BYU's okay this year and probably down the road at quarterback, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Like those guys, when you talk about both of those guys, McKay and Trayson.
Or Trayson, yeah.
They're bright. They're bright. And so even if they were deficient physically in a particular area, they can make up for it the way they process information, the way that they understand where the ball needs to go, and then their accuracy. So, yeah, I think we're in good shape at the quarterback position.
Tight end coach Kevin Gilbride. A couple more questions here on the Wise Guys. For those listening on the podcast, he's sporting a Navy BYU Big 12 sweatshirt. Not the first time you've had Cougar gear on, as we go back to 1998.
Oh, wow.
The one season here before you left to go to Hawaii to play baseball, which we have some follow-up questions on that. But how different are things at BYU from 1998 to now where you walk in as a member of the staff?
Night and day.
Really?
As far as the it was great, by the way, my year at BYU. But as far as the character of people has always been high-level character of people. But the people that our players are around each day, whether it's the strength staff, the academic staff, our sports science department, the nutrition, the locker room, the equipment, like it's night and day. And we had it pretty good back in 98,
yeah.
But it's night and day. It's top of the line type people. We have all the proper equipment and gear and all those things. And that's great. But the reality of it is it's the people that are interacting. Are they really there pushing to develop these young men and give them the best chance possible to be successful? We have that. And not that we didn't back in the day, but it's very apparent that now we do.
So you're in that quarterback room, and it was a crowded room in 1998. Baseball in Hawaii, how did this transition go?
Football and baseball. And it really, I was going to play baseball at BYU as well.
Really?
Yeah. It was between Coach Edwards and I, it was, hey, your first year, just play spring football, and then after that, you can play both. That was kind of my recruiting. It was when I went on a recruiting visit, it was football scholarship and ability to play baseball. So that's where it was. So it was always football and baseball, which was good because when I transferred to Hawaii, I didn't play much in football either. So I did get to play a lot in baseball.
Yeah.
We had some really good quarterbacks out there too.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who was at quarterback at Hawaii during that time. Remind us of who was there then.
Timmy Chang.
Oh, yeah.
Broke the career record, NCAA career record for passing yards. That guy.
When you guys were spreading it out and throwing it a million times a game back in those days.
Yes, yeah.
You know, Gary Shaddy tells a story that he too was recruited, and Lavelle said he could play baseball and football. And then when he got here, realized that spring football and baseball were going on at the same time.
Yep.
And there were like 6 quarterbacks. And Lavelle was like, well, you make the choice. And he goes, that's the last time he played baseball.
Yeah.
He said he had dreams of playing both, but then he realized it's so hard to play both when you're trying to win a spot as quarterback at BYU.
Yeah, and I found that too.
Yeah.
In Hawaii. It was a real challenge to try to wake up, have spring ball in the morning, and execute at a high level when you've had 4-hour baseball practices the night before, had it a 2 or 3 game series. So yeah, it was challenging.
And to be good in baseball, to actually hit, you have to see a lot of pitches.
Right.
And you can't see enough if you're going back and forth between spring football and I remember the BYU baseball coaches talking to us about Jaron Hall, and they're like, we think he may be able to play in the major leagues,
right?
But not if he doesn't come over here and do this, because he can't. And he's he's in the NFL now anyhow, which is fine. Which I think was what he wanted to do and why he did that. But that's at some point you have to kind of make a choice with those, don't you?
Right.
Did you pitch?
I pitched in high school.
But on college?
When I played baseball at Hawaii, they were like, you're playing quarterback on the football team, and you're playing baseball. It's 2 sports. You can't also pitch and hit. You choose one. So I said, all right, I'll hit.
Awesome.
So that was it. So I played mostly outfield, a little bit of first base, DH.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Is Hawaii as chill as it seems like it is? Like we go there on vacation, and I've gone over and covered lots and lots of games over there over the years. But is the feel on campus as chill as it seems like it is?
No, actually. Let me put it to you this way: when you're there and you're not in the vacation areas, they want to know why you're there. Meaning the people of Hawaii, the people who are local there. If you want to be a part of their culture, understand where they're coming from, they take you in like family. And that was my experience. And if you don't, they don't want much to do with you. And I can understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But my experience was phenomenal because I loved everything about it. Like just when I came to BYU, I wanted to learn about the culture, learn about the religion, spiritual side of things. Went out there, I wanted to do the exact same thing. So I was fortunate that I had that approach. I had no idea that was the right approach out there, but that was what I was going to do either way. So,
well, it all comes full circle for you on August 31st when you run out of the BYU locker room again for the first time since 1998. How eager are you for opening night?
Not very eager because there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that I don't want to rush anything. I want to make sure that we're ready to go. And there's a lot of work that we still have a lot of execution that has to be had before we're ready to go. So not eager yet. Excited, yeah, but I put it in the back of my mind.
So Rachel's more excited for opening night than you are?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Hey, well, in the chat, Michael Zimmerman says, hey, me hoping the O-line can play play better this year. If the O-line plays well, the team plays well. You're a big part of the run game with your tight ends and the scheme and all of that. That is probably one of the most common questions we hear from folks out in the community. Like, we're going to run the ball better this year. How's the O-line going to be? The running back's going to be better. I know that you and TJ have been really helping rebuild that run game. Give us a status update on that.
Work in progress, but improving by the day. And do I believe that we're going to be able to run the ball better? That was part of that execution when you said, what are you going to say? What are you going to say what are people going to be able to see that's different than they've seen in the past? That's part of the execution I'm referring to. So I do believe we're going to be better. A lot of work still has to be done, but we're getting there.
All right. I think he's ready for 5 questions.
He's ready for 5 questions. Yours aren't exactly the same. So
yeah, we changed them a little
even
bit.
though you like double cheated, you weren't just sitting there. You went and put the headset on so you could hear
request the headset.
you could hear his answers even.
There's a general theme.
So yeah, there's a general theme. So we'll start with the same first question. Your favorite sports movie?
I got to go Field of Dreams.
Classic.
Oh, you know what? Every time, and a few have said that, every time somebody says that, I want to go watch it again.
It's a phenomenal.
It is,
movie.
it is,
really
and it makes me cry every time. So
there's a moment in there where the dad, Kevin Costner's playing catch with his dad, and then you go back and you coached with your dad. Do you feel that connection in that scene?
I've never thought about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, probably, but it really would more bring me back to being young, having a catch with my dad.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
those are the memories that I still cherish. Whether it was he and I by ourselves throwing the baseball or football, or being in the Houston Astrodome before games where he would throw me routes and I would run routes and catch the ball, which was also awesome experience. So, yeah, I would flash to that, certainly.
That's awesome.
we have to, Dave. We have a tradition. Gavin and I, Coach Fowler.
Awesome guy and awesome golfer, by the way.
Did you guys play today?
He played good today.
Yeah.
Did he play good?
Yeah, he did.
Good.
Yeah,
We
no, he
played
can play.
in Coach Kalani's together, and he played well.
Yeah, when he's hitting it, he goes, it's 235 to the green. I think I'll hit my 5-iron. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Give me a 3-wood, right? And I still won't get there, right? But he and I have had this tradition the last several years where there's a home game, if we're doing game day, we have to find a moment where I can run down and just have just a quick catch with him on the field. We have never lost a game where Gavin and I have played catch on the field before the game, ever.
That's awesome.
And I was telling Kalani about it. Kalani lives around the corner from us, and Kalani's like, why have you not played catch every game?
That's what I'm thinking.
And I said, well, because
We have
there's
some broadcast
because there's some
commitments.
games that we're doing like a 2-hour show to us, and Kalani goes, oh, we're working that out this year. Like, we're working that out this year.
We can't afford
what are we
any
doing?
of this.
What are we doing?
We've never lost a game if he and I play catch before a game.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So we gotta do it every
yes.
Keep
Yes.
that in mind.
What are we?
Okay,
It's not even a question.
I know, we gotta
What
do
are we
this.
talking about?
It'll be 14-0.
I know.
Yeah,
If I did my job, we would have been we would have lost. We've won 14 straight at home. I don't know what the heck.
It's hard
Won
sometimes.
another national championship.
Exactly.
If you do your job. That's all you got to do is your job.
I'll do better this
Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds pretty simple.
Your favorite singer or band?
I got to go George Strait.
George Strait.
Nice.
I saw the other night where he played at Texas A&M's football stadium
Oh,
and
that had
set
to
the
be decent.
record
Did they
for
fill
the
it?
largest crowd
Oh, yeah.
to ever watch a concert. It was what would have been
110,000. But
Could you
they put him on the field too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That'd
and
be
he just
special.
rocked it.
That place is crazy. Favorite breakfast cereal?
I'm going to go 6 eggs over easy, bacon, and grits.
6 eggs.
What box does that come in? That's not a
It
cereal
doesn't.
box.
It's an additional.
So growing up,
4
no cereal
eggs
growing
added. Cereal, probably Apple Jacks.
Okay.
Nice.
up.
Got a cart of that. If you want to stop by anytime, you guys come by. We have Apple Jacks always.
Nice.
My old teammate Danny Plater, before he passed away, used to just stop by on Sunday afternoons.
Really?
And he just stopped by. And we'd say, have you eaten? He goes, no. And he would just go to the cupboard. And we had his own thing full of Apple Jacks because that's what he loved. He'd get in the fridge and get the milk out, and he would sit at our counter and talk to us, have a bowl of Apple Jacks, and then just head. So, and that was a
great.
tradition until he just passed away recently. But so Apple Jacks were part of our life.
Nice.
So I love that one.
We're putting that down on the Apple Jacks.
Yep.
Down there.
Favorite football moment of all time?
I mean, it's got to be winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know.
We figured.
Yeah.
And the whole connection with Dad and all that makes it even more special.
It was a special time.
And New York
I
is-
mean, let me wait to say one more thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we rolled deep to the Super Bowl too. I mean, you have an allotment of tickets that you're allowed. Well, we had double that because there were 2 of us, so we had a lot of Gilbrides at the
awesome.
So fun.
And to
Super
win
Bowl.
at New York, which is just, Zach has caught the brunt of not winning in New York. When you win in New York, you're the king.
Yeah, I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
lose in New York, it's not good.
You're
Or
not-
Philadelphia. New York and Philadelphia are not the places
You lose
to
the kingdom if you lose, and you get the kingdom if you win.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
your favorite moment with this BYU football staff? I know it's only been, through spring ball and all that, but do you have a favorite moment with the staff so far?
I don't know if I have one specific moment that I can, point to, but I could give you multiple. Just being in the offensive staff meeting room and the character of the people in there and the way that we're all pulling in the same direction is pretty special. So blessed and fortunate to be here because of that. And then just laughing with the coaches, whether it's Justin N is the guy that I laugh with the most. So, and he's a former teammate.
Yeah.
But having the the previous relationship and now the current relationship with the guys that I played with, and then the guys that I've now met since being here has been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Justin is funny because, and I've known him a long, long time, and he's been on the show, and he makes us laugh, and he makes you laugh, and then I watch him out on the field. I'm like, who is that? Like, he's intense.
He's not laughing out there.
He is intense. I'm like, who is that guy? But he played intense.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that outside the white line, nicest guy ever, step over the line onto the field, almost nuts, right? Which is great to have for a coach, right?
Exactly.
You got to and a linebacker.
as a player.
Yeah. Can I add one question for him? Because I wanted to add. Can I add a sixth one?
Yeah, bonus?
Yeah, here's a bonus question. Favorite bit of advice that your dad gave you?
It's a hard one, too. There's so many.
Yeah.
But really, more than anything he said, I saw, which was things are going to come at you. You're going to have good times and bad times. And people are going to be coming at you. Don't ever let that affect who you are and what you believe in, and just keep working at that. And just whatever you believe in, whatever the case may be, you do your best at your job, and don't let the noise bother you. And then eventually you'll be okay. It might not be right then, but eventually you'll be okay. So I think that describes, how I view my father more than just one piece of advice.
And he was right.
Thanks.
Yeah,
He was right.
You just keep on grinding. Yeah, I love it.
Hey, we're
Thanks.
just thrilled to have you back at BYU where you belong.
Thank you.
And we look forward to watching that tight end position evolve back to where it has been a standard at BYU all those years of greatness, and the tight ends love you. We did our research. They like you, and I don't know if they said they were afraid of you or not, but they believe you're making them better. And that's all you can do, right?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm working at it, and they're working at it, and that's all we can ask. And so we'll get to the fruits will be there eventually.
Is it weird to say we'll see it practice next month?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm excited.
We'll probably see you before that. So you two played golf today. Did you play?
I did.
And Gavin did too. I did not play.
How'd your group finish? We finished at 7 under.
We weren't that. We were, I think, -3.
-3.
We weren't thinking.
Yeah,
we were
Gavin
gonna
said his team finished 5th.
We rolled
I don't
a
know what
couple.
that would have been, but
I don't know.
win. I won something though.
what'd you win?
The longest putt.
You did?
You
Yes.
won the longest putt?
Nice. Yep.
I think I
won
was
a
in the
sandwich.
back when you got out. I won. So they got something, but I didn't get the longest
You
putt.
Yep.
But I remember seeing where you put the marker. That was a long putt.
It was long.
Yeah.
It
Do you
was
like
long.
do you like
job.
golf? Do you like
crazy.
golf?
I don't play. Do I like it? Yes, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't play enough to be good.
Yeah.
But, so you get frustrated. But I just
and
try
that's
to
why I
have
don't
fun.
ask. I don't ask anybody. Hey, are you good at golf? I always, do you like it? Because none of us are always good. Sometimes we're good, sometimes we're not. Even we play with a couple of PGA Tour guys, and sometimes they're not great, but we all love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of
We
fun.
all love it.
Next time you come on the show, will you bring Rachel and she can join us as a guest?
Yeah.
I will. She's putting our daughter Blair to bed.
Is that
That's
right?
why she couldn't make it this time.
Okay.
Next
Blair,
time
get to bed.
Blaine will come over here and she'll sit
She
right
can come
there.
sit here with
That's
you.
awesome.
It's
We'll do
great
it.
to have you here.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
thanks for coming on, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Kevin Gilbride, the tight ends coach at BYU here on the Wise Guys, and you can just go.
Okay.
Yep. This is such a casual. This is what we love about this show. Long format, casual. People come and go. It's fun.
The live
Can
stream's
I
got
say a
questions.
quick
Everyone.
hello to one more person?
Yeah, who is it?
Yeah.
By the way, Hawaii's in the house.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Rick Branovich from Kauai says Kauai in the house, and then Mark Phillips says Coach Gilbride's all class. So
Thank you.
So,
Cedric Whitaker, Slippery Rock DB's coach. What's up, nephew?
Slippery Rock, I love
Nice. Thank you, Coach.
There we go. Thanks, Coach.
Outstanding. And next month, the guys
Can you
report,
believe it?
and we're gonna be in business. What a insightful interview on that tight end.
Yeah, so fun to hear, and I love how he talks about they've got so many different sets of talent in that group that they can create matchup problems for other teams, and if they all come together, kind of fun stuff.